Okay, now there are certain factors which influence purchasing policies. Is it right? Okay, the first one is ancillary development. Ancillary development is like, okay, let me give you an example. Okay, I'm back now. For a product like a charger, yeah, yeah, for a product like a charger, now I make this part of the product. But this part, since I don't have the necessary facility in my factory, I ask someone else, some other, say a small tiny branch or some other industry to make this for me. Okay, I'll make this, they make this, and finally I get this material from them, and then I assemble in my factory. So when I ask other industries to make one component of my entire finished good, we call it as we call such a factory as a ancillary unit. So any unit to whom I give a contract in order to make one component of a finished good, I call it as ancillary unit. Okay, an organization can always go for this method. We give a different name to this method. It's called as subcontracting. Subcontracting. So when I want to do this, I can engage or check whether this factor would affect my purchasing policy. If I have such a unit who would give me they make these products for me, I don't need to purchase the raw material for them. They would purchase their raw material, they would make the product, and they'll give it to me. Okay, in return for some money, yes, but they would be doing the purchasing part. So this is how it affects the policy. The plus point about this is it allows industries to set up as ancillary units. It allows it creates more what do I say, employment opportunities, because quite some people would be working for those units as well, and also they would promote entrepreneurship. Okay, but the negative thing is, suppose I'm planning to change or stop this production, I'm going to go for a new unit, and this industry has only the facilities to produce the cable. Then I'll have to leave that guy behind and go for the next industry. As a result of which, if a product is changed or modified, the ancillary unit might not be able to imbibe it quickly. As a result, they might fall out of the good books of the organization, or they might have a conflict with the organization. Second one is make or buy. I think I have mentioned this as well. So for example, again, if I'm getting another scenario, if I'm getting this cable from a supplier such as a raw material, now the person is charging this cable for rupees 400 per cable. Okay, then I do some research on this, and then I understand, okay, the supplier is saying 400 per unit, but after doing some research I got to know that this thing takes only 200 in order to make this product. Okay, supplier is charging at 400, thinking about his profit margin, but this thing cost only 200. So what do? I decide to make it on my own. If I can build the necessary facility to supply my own thing with the raw material that which I can make, rather than depending on anyone, because I'm paying a higher charge there. If I can make the same product which which has a cost of rupees 400, which is charged by the supplier, if I am able to make it at 200 per unit, why can't I make it? You understand? Now there are three different scenarios associated with make or buy. The first one is that the organization, that is I, decide to make or buy this product. Okay, all of a sudden I've just started my business, I can make or buy the product. my choice. I just start off like that. I haven't depended on any supplier so far. I just start off. Then the second one is I start making the product rather than buying. Like the example that I gave you, it costs me 400 outside from the supplier, but for 200 I'm able to make it. So when I start making instead of buying from then on, it is a second scenario. Third one is I start buying something which I used to make before. Reverse the situation. If the cost for making this thing was rupees 400 and the cost of getting this from my supplier is only rupees 200, why should I still make it? I can go and buy it. So these decisions do have tax implications, but at the same time they affect the purchasing policy because the organization needs to make a choice between buying or selling. The third one is speculative buying. What do you mean by this? Speculative buying is where you buy the things to sell it later. Yeah. So normally you buy things when it is offered at a lesser price, good quality but lesser priced, right? Now what do I do is, again charger, it's a better example. Today the price of this charger is rupees 200 per unit. Next month everyone is speculating, or they are foreseeing that next month the price is going to go up to 500 per unit. 200 right now is going to cost me, this is going to cost 500. What do? If I need to make a profit out of this scenario, I would go and purchase these cables at 200 per unit, and next month when the prices are high, I would sell it off at 500 per unit. As a result, I'll get rupees 300, that is 500 minus 200, rupees 300 profit on each cable that I had bought. Is it clear to you? So when the business does this buying on the basis of profit and not for manufacture, we call this as speculative buying. And the reverse, wherein the manufacturer would be purchasing this not for the profit motive but for the manufacture purpose, we call it as forward buying. Then vendor rating. When I said we have to give importance to selection of suppliers, I actually meant it because selection of suppliers are very much crucial to an organization. If you select the right supplier, he is always an asset to the organization. Okay, the success of the organization, for which he might be one of the main contributors. But suppose you have wrongfully selected your supplier, he might even he might be one main leading factor for the closure of your business also. So a lot of importance, be it scientific principles, scientific methods, or the general methods, all those have to be well implemented based on the need, and you should give thorough analysis and research. It will not happen in one single day. They'll have to analyze a lot of reports, evaluate a lot of options, and then they have to go for the supplier. So every organization should pray for the reason that let us get a proper supplier. Otherwise, it might even lead to closure of business. So here we use certain methods, which I would tell in the next slide, which would see to it that which would help you in selecting the right supplier. Then there is ethics in purchasing. Like I mentioned, a lot of funds of the company is being given to the allocated for the purchasing department because it is one huge crucial function without which you cannot do any other production in the firm. And no production, no profit, no sales, things are bad, right? So that is why a large sum of money is allocated, not given, allocated to the purchase department. What do? They have to manage those funds effectively. But there are some wrong people in a crowd of good, good class, like in your class only. If two or three make a lot of noises, disturb my class, I won't feel like teaching also, right? People do get irritated, frustrated, maybe because of one or two people, and maybe as a result of which, the class gets suspended, you get a warning and all that because of one or two students. It's not a mistake of every student, but because of one or two, this happens. So in the same way, in the purchasing department, where one or two tries to commit some fraudulent activities behind the knowledge of the organization, we can say that this is one risk which is prevalent over there. Okay, so there might be some unethical people who try to get off material without the company knowing. They might sell it somewhere else for a profit. All this does happen even now. So, and a purchasing manager should always see that he maintains certain good ethics, like proper ethics when it comes to purchasing, because he has the organization's money with him. He needs to spend it wisely, not use it for his own stupid, silly reasons. Okay. Now, reciprocity, reciprocal. So, reciprocity, which means to say that I get this cable from one supplier. His name is Ramu. Okay, so I take the cable from Mr. Ramu. I tell him that, okay, you have supplied me this material. I will join it like this. I am going to give you these finished goods. You sell it in the market. You'll get a commission. Okay, I get this raw material from Ramu. I assemble in my unit. I make the final product. I give it to Ramu and ask, try selling those or sell those so that I'll pay you a commission. So when the reverse process of supplying the raw material and making them sell as a reciprocal function or like an inverse function, we call this as reciprocity. This happens when there are industries who are depending on the same type of suppliers who are also involved in the industry. Like steel and iron industry would be dealing with suppliers who produce those ores, right? So they are well aware of the market and the raw material and the processes which manufacturers do. So they would be there in a better place to sell it. Then purchasing for employees. Okay, when we try to purchase certain merchandise for the employees, because we might get better discounts if we do it. We call it as purchasing for employees. For example, we have heard of Amway, right? Where a lot of health supplements, a lot of protein bars, all those are being sold out. So what do these organizations do? It's an international organization. What do? They give their employees a choice to purchase the items from them and use it for their own thing, as a result of which, for example, say if my husband is working in Amway, suppose he's not, and he is given some 50 products which he brings home and he tries out each sample and he's happy with it. I hear about this, I call my mom and say, Mom, Amway products are very good, why don't you purchase? Then I call my sister and I tell her, this is very good, why don't you purchase? I call the second sister also and I tell her this. I call my brother that it is very good, you purchase. So this word of mouth marketing is happening from my end, knowingly or unknowingly. This is what an organization wants. They want the employee or the employee's family to play a very active role in marketing the company. So purchasing for employees is one technique which you use. Then the next one is gift. Now this gift thing is a widely misunderstood term. Gifts can be a normal gifts, yes, but between a supplier and a purchaser, that isn't proper. That's against the rules of many organizations. Okay, so here what happens is this gift is equated with bribe. Okay, don't know whether you are aware of it. You must have seen in movies certain medical shops, uh, the dealers who sit there, they get their medicines and products from other manufacturing units, right? What do those people do is they go to the medical shop and they say, see, our product, our company has launched you know, new product like N123. Recently it was just launched last month. If you purchase 20 units from us and if you keep it in your store, we are going to give you a brand new TV. Okay, understand? I tell the medical shop owner, our company has launched something last month or last week. if you buy 20 units from me, our company is going to give you a TV or a water bottle or a fridge. So all these are very much relevant. Okay, again, medical shops also have, no, you don't see it everywhere, but you see it in a few places where then they go to the hospitals and tell that the pharmacy counters, please tell that you don't have medicine here, send them to a medical shop, we will get you a TV. So all this bribe, gift, everything is still there in the business world. It won't go off, no matter which country are you in. Don't have a feeling that you see it only in countries like India. Not at all. You see it in numerous places. Okay. So these gifts are a big no in the relationship between a supplier and a manufacturer from all the examples that I gave you. So those are equivalent to a bribe. Maybe the intention is different. Okay, but still it is viewed as a bribe, not allowed. Value analysis is where you try to alter the specification, like how we, during the steps of purchasing cycle, there was one step called description of need, where you specify the specifications and different conditions. Now the problem with this is, if those specifications are costly, because of those specifications, that material can turn out to be very costly. The purchasing department might think, okay, why not we go for a different substitute product? For example, a factory which makes toffee, chocolate flavored, no, tea flavored chocolates. Tea flavored chocolates. So all this while I was using red label. That was my raw material. I used red label. Don't get me wrong, this is just an example. I started using red label for my product. So what do I do is, I tell them, yeah, what is it? I tell them, I normally take a red label, right? So I tell them, fine, this is the product that I want. Now I want only this product. Please don't get me wrong. I want just this material. I used to go for red label all the while, and I used to do my production. Then the purchasing department, because they are very much closely related with the outside world and the market, they find out that red label, there are certain things, certain aspects or certain features of this product which makes it very costly. But if you compare it with another material like Brook Bond, it offers almost the same specifications and it offers almost the same quality. Why not go for that product which is less priced? So value analysis is one team of engineers, technical staff, purchasing people from management, commerce, everywhere, who sits together, does analysis and check, what if we use another substitute for the material? This happens because maybe the specifications or the features of that product is very costly, like for instance red label. So they might go for Brook Bond, they might go for Kanan Devan. It depends. So when you try to modify the specifications in order to achieve less cost or in order to reduce your cost, we call it as value analysis. All right. Now the last topic in purchase management, vendor rating. This is very important when you compare when you try to select the supplier. Now what are the factors which you have to consider? How do you differentiate which supplier should we go for? The price. What prices were quoted by the supplier previously and what is the price quoted? Especially this comes for your tender pricing. Then the discounts received, whether supplier A is offering a better discount than supplier B. Maintenance and compliance of specifications. We state our specifications, whether the supplier would be able to maintain them, whether they would be able to follow them and give us the right product. Promptness of delivery. When the delivery date is 1st of May and they give it on 5th of May, that supplier is not reliable. Freight and delivery charges, like how most of your online apps also differ based on the delivery charges, and you try to select one which offers at least a promo code or a free delivery charge. Then the credit terms. Now certain products, especially in the medical field, also medical equipment, when they are being sold to hospitals say that we'll use it for 1 month, we'll see how it is, and then we'll purchase. Okay, and they test the sample and they are fine with it, then they purchase the product. This is a normal trend which I have actually seen. They start using the product and then they feel that we'll give you the payment next month, because patients would come in, we'll try to get the fees from their money and we'll pay you back, and they start extending this date of payment. Okay, this is good for the hospital, not for the supplier though, but the hospitals are happy. So there are certain things which is there in the business world which in which the organization can benefit from extended credit terms. When an supplier says, okay, I'll give you a time period of 3 months to make the payment, and distinguish that with another supplier who says, I can give you only 2 days to make the payment, we would go for the person who allows us more time to do it. Now there are certain rating techniques which you have to use: categorical plan, weighted point plan, critical incident plan, checklist system. These methods are very easy. Categorical plan says that everyone, a set of people from each department will sit together in a room. They'll take one by one, they'll take this sort of biodata details of each supplier, and they start discussing. Everyone tries to give an informal evaluation, and then they decide, okay, he is a standard supplier, let's put him in standard supplier category. This one doesn't sound very strong, he's a bit weak, let's put him in the weak category. So when you categorize different suppliers based on some informal evaluation of different persons belonging to different departments who come under one roof and discuss about various suppliers, we call it as categorical plan. Weighted point plan is where we look for certain factors, and it's like those 1 2 3 4 5 6, those 6 factors are listed down. Okay, the top ones, and then I give them weight on the base of 100, like how we had the factor rating method for location model. In the same way, I ascertain the weights. I take supplier A and I give him the points, supplier B, I give him the points according to the different factors. I multiply the weight with the factor, I get certain values. Whichever supplier is showing the highest value, I select it. You remember these examples which I gave you, right? So based on this weighted plan method, where I give them different weights and I calculate, that is called as your weighted point plan. Critical incident plan. For example, I'm dealing with a supplier for the past 5 years. During the 3rd year, he made some default in not giving me the products on, he didn't deliver the products on time. I remember this incident, and when I'm sitting down to evaluate whether to select the supplier or not, I remember that incident and I'm like, okay, he will not be able to supply. I cut his name across. So when personal bias and judgment falls in place with certain things which happened earlier, we call it as critical incident method. And checklist system, like how it's shown in the picture, certain things like for a sheet is given with certain factors, price, discount received and all that. You just have to tick on which is more working when it comes to the vendor, whether the supplier is given out of 5, is he given a rating for 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. So these are the concepts related to purchasing management. If you have any question, let me know. If you don't, we would progress to the next unit. And even if you still have questions, let me know. Not to the next unit, to the next part, which is material handling. See you. Bye.